The night was soft and quiet in the little town of Willowmere, and the stars sparkled like scattered lanterns in the sky. Deep inside her blanket fort, 10-year-old Lila couldn't sleep. She stared at the glow of her flashlight, tracing shapes on the walls made from her hands: a rabbit, a bird, a dragon. Her little sister Emma, just 7, peeked her sleepy face through the blanket flap. "Lila," she mumbled, rubbing her eyes. "It's past bedtime." "I know," Lila whispered. "But look what I found." She held up an old, folded piece of paper she had discovered under her grandmother's bookshelf that afternoon. It was torn, crinkled, and covered in strange symbols. At the top, written in curly ink, were the words, "Map of the Forest of Shadows. Follow the moonlight path." Emma frowned. "That's just one of Grandma's fairy stories." Lila grinned. "What if it's not? What if the forest is real?" Emma's eyes widened a little. "The Forest of Shadows? Isn't that the one where the light disappears?" "That's what makes it fun," Lila said, grabbing her backpack. "Come on, Emma, let's find it before the sun comes up." At first, Emma wanted to say no, but then she thought about how brave Lila always was, how she once climbed the tallest oak tree just to rescue a kitten, and how she hated being left behind. So she sighed and whispered, "Okay, but we're taking Marshmallow," holding up her floppy stuffed bunny like a shield. The sisters tiptoed outside, past their sleeping parents, and slipped into the cool night. The moon hung high above them, round and glowing, casting silver light across the fields. Crickets chirped, and fireflies blinked like tiny stars floating low to the ground. The map led them to the edge of the woods, where the trees grew tall and thick, their branches weaving together like tangled fingers. A faint mist drifted along the ground, glowing faintly under the moonlight. "See?" Lila said, unfolding the map again. "It says follow the moonlight path." Emma squinted. "But I don't see a path." Then, as if the forest had been listening, a thin beam of moonlight stretched across the ground between the trees, forming a glowing trail. The air shimmered slightly, and somewhere far ahead they heard a low hum, like a song carried by the wind. "Whoa!" Emma whispered. "That's magic!" Lila smiled. "Told you." They followed the glowing path, deeper and deeper into the forest. The trees whispered as the wind brushed their leaves, and strange little lights, not quite fireflies, not quite stars, floated past them. The forest didn't feel scary at first. It felt alive, like it was watching them curiously. But the deeper they went, the dimmer the light became. The moon disappeared behind thick clouds, and the glowing path flickered. The air turned cool, and the shadows seemed to move when they weren't looking. "Lila," Emma said softly, "I think we should go back." "Not yet," Lila said, though her voice was quieter now. "We're almost there." The map's symbols began to glow faintly, and an arrow appeared, pointing toward a dark clearing up ahead. They stepped carefully through the mist until they reached a circle of tall, black trees that surrounded a still pond. The water shimmered, reflecting the moon that peeked through the clouds again. "Look," Emma whispered, "something's moving in the water." At first, Lila thought it was just a fish. But then, slowly, a shape rose from the pond, a tall figure made of shadow and mist. It had eyes that shimmered silver like stars, and a voice that sounded like wind through the trees. "Who dares enter my forest?" it asked softly, its words echoing through the air. Emma froze. Lila stepped forward, holding the map. "We're not here to steal anything," she said bravely. "We're just exploring." The figure tilted its head. "Few walk this path and speak with honesty. Most come seeking treasure. But you," its eyes turned toward Emma, "you came because your heart is curious and your sister is brave." Emma trembled but managed to whisper, Are you the guardian?" The shadow nodded slowly. "I guard what others fear. The forest of shadows shows travelers what they hide from themselves." Lila frowned. "What does that mean?" "Step closer," the guardian said. The ground beneath them rippled like water, and suddenly the trees around them shimmered and changed. Lila gasped. She saw herself, running alone, searching for adventure, but never looking back to see Emma following behind. Then the image faded, replaced by Emma's reflection standing in her sister's shadow, afraid she'd never be as brave. The guardian's voice echoed softly. "Courage is not found in darkness or light, but in love that guides you through both." Emma reached for Lila's hand, and the shadows around them began to fade. The pond glowed, its reflection showing not two frightened girls, but two sisters standing strong together. "Your hearts are true," said the guardian. "Take this so you never lose your way again." A small pendant rose from the water shaped like a moon, half silver and half black. It floated into Lila's hands, warm to the touch. "Thank you," Lila whispered. "Remember," said the guardian as its form began to fade back into mist, "the forest will always test those who wander, but the brave do not walk alone." Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the light from the pond vanished, and the sisters found themselves back at the edge of the woods. The morning sun was rising, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds. The mist was gone, and the trees looked ordinary again, just quiet, sleepy forest trees. Emma blinked in surprise. Was that real? Lila looked down at the pendant glowing faintly in her hand. "I think it was." When they got home, their parents were still asleep. They snuck back into bed, the pendant resting on the nightstand between them. As the sunlight streamed through the window, Emma whispered, "Lila?" "Yeah?" "Thanks for not leaving me behind." Lila smiled sleepily. "Never. That's what sisters do." And just before they drifted off, the pendant glowed one last time, casting a soft light across their room, a reminder that courage and love would always guide them, even through the forest of shadows.